If you've been following the Austin ISD boundary changes with me, I have another update for you. And this one gives some South Austin homeowners a little bit of breathing room. So AISD was originally supposed to release the recommended Phase 1 boundary changes by August 7th. But the district has pushed that timeline back again. AISD says it wants to wait until the school year starts so it can see actual enrollment numbers following the recent school closures and the new transportation changes rather than making decisions based on the summer projections. Phase 1 recommendations are now expected in September, with a board vote anticipated in October to solidify all of that. The biggest takeaway for South Austin is that AISD continues to narrow what it's considered an urgent boundary change. Phase 1 is now expected to focus on schools facing severe overcrowding for the 2027 and 2028 school year, along with establishing new attendance area for Marshall Middle School. Most of the larger changes that we've been talking about, including feeder pattern changes and attempts to redistribute students from schools with very different enrollment levels, are being pushed into Phase 2. And that process begins in 2027, with broader changes currently expected to take place in 2028 and 2029, that school year. Particularly important for areas in South Austin like Legend Oaks, West Creek, and parts of Western Oaks, early boundary scenarios explored significant changes for some of these feeder patterns, including Austin High to Crockett. I wouldn't interpret the latest announcement as AISD abandoning this idea. I think a lot of I think it's more accurate to say that the district is separating the changes that it has to make now from the much larger, more complicated changes, i.e. people pushing back, that it wants to make later. AISD received thousands of comments during the summer engagement process, including substantial participation from South Austin residents. So kudos, y'all. The community feedback is clearly becoming an important part of how this process moves forward. So for homeowners, my advice is pay attention, but don't panic. Nothing in those earlier maps is final. And this latest delay actually, makes that even more important to remember. Our feedback is causing these delays. Schools have significant influence on the housing demand in Southwest Austin, so a major feeder pattern change can absolutely matter to home buyers and homeowners. So for now, we'll get our first real look at the reduced Phase 1 recommendations in September. The bigger South Austin boundary conversation appears increasingly likely to happen during Phase 2, and I'll continue to follow it closely as we get actual proposals rather than some hypotheticals. So keep following along if you're into this information. Talk to you soon.